to get away with murder.
Here we go.
Well, you've managed to escape the second season curse. You have been able to maintain the audience and the expectations of the audience. Personally, for me, okay.
You're telling me.
Okay, but I want to know what were the keys you think that kept the series as good as the first season?
Goodness, that's difficult. I want Jack to go first here.
You want me to go first? Well, you know, yeah, you didn't know the second season curse. Yeah.
Yes.
No.
I don't
No.
know about lots of things.
Yeah. What's keeping it? I think mostly, aside from my acting, I think the writing. You know, I think that Pete Nowak, our creator, and our brilliant writers, you know, all
Great, isn't it? Our creative sounds like with a.
Yeah, the writing. I mean, you know, it's crazy, and I think that our writers do a beautiful job of sort of effortlessly stringing the whole thing together and sort of keeping audiences and us on our toes. Yeah.
That's it. I think he's right. I think that's
Yeah,
it.
okay.
It's the excitement of it, the thrill. They sustained that sort of level of intensity and excitement. People, as he says, it's crazy, and I think people like that it's crazy. You know, it's not a restful watch, is it?
No, it's a roller coaster, yeah. Well, I want to know, I'm very curious about how you get the scripts, how you discover this roller coaster, this plot twist. Do you get each script by episode? Yeah?
Yeah, we get them episode to episode, so we don't know. We don't know what happens. But we get them a few days ahead of time, hopefully, and we shoot as we go.
It's that's one of the tricky things, that you're sort of getting the script on the go and you don't know the full sort of shape of where you're going. But that's sort of part of the fun too, I guess. That's kind of the excitement. You're on your toes, so when you get a new script, you're in a sort of audience-like position of being like, oh goodness, we're doing that. But that challenge of it, I think, is sort of one of the things that from an acting perspective you have to square, but it actually gives you a sort of collaborative input to a certain degree, because it's not predetermined. So the things that we do can affect where they're going to take the story sort of in the future, in the way we play a scene, maybe. Or, maybe it doesn't work with what, and they do have something in mind and you have to do it again, or, But that's that sort of episode to episode sort of process is sort of one of the sort of key hallmarks, I'd say, probably of the show.
Well, in this case, I want to know if you guess, the whole cast, try to guess what is going to happen.
We used to play that game a little bit on set.
You're so tired.
We tried the first season, but we were so wrong that we were sort of making wagers, but it's just so crazy that I don't think anyone could really accurately, figure out what's going to happen. Yeah, but was anyone particularly close?
I mean, everyone. We weren't really sort of setting. It wasn't so much. We were trying to work out what happened. So we all went through a range of possibilities. Yeah, I mean, there was one thing that I thought was going to be the case for a while. I sort of keep being very. Maybe some people haven't seen series one. Jack laughed at me because season one was so long ago. Apparently, I don't even think it was that long ago. That people know what's going to happen in season one, but I don't want to say that in case anyone is just watching it and ruin it for them. But
we can put the spoilers.
no, we can put the spoiler sign up. They can cover their ears. But I mean, I thought Wes would be involved in the way he turned out to be involved from a few episodes in, because I thought I can see he has a very good motive. He hypothetically he would have a good motivation. But I mean, I think one of the clever things about the show is, as much as, you know, maybe you can guess who does a particular act or what happens. So this is all spoiler territory, isn't it? Who does it? The writers, you know, the narrative's constantly twisting and turning and changing. So you find that out, but immediately there are other questions. You know, what, why, who else is involved, how, you know. So it's not as, it's never over, I guess. That's one of the things the writers always manage to say. With every resolution comes however many more questions.
There's been the first previews of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I don't know if you could go to see it yet. Yeah. Okay, but I want to know, because in our website there's a lot of chat about it, about the new Hermione that has maybe divided the fans. I want to know if you have an opinion of it.
I think it's quite straightforward, really. I think we develop personal relationships with the stories that we like. So when it was the books, everyone had their own conception of what the characters looked like, and, you know, in the films, everyone had their own complaints about, you know, when the films first came out, that, oh, that wasn't like I thought it would be, they left out that bit, that's important to me. You know, I used to think she was called Hermione, not Hermione. Yeah. So I was annoyed when people started calling her Hermione. So you develop these personal relationships with how you expect things to be in your own private world, because it matters, the story matters to you. And then what started to happen, because the films were so huge, people start developing a personal relationship with the film. So when you get a change from something that's important to you, you know, sometimes it can be difficult. But I don't think there's absolutely no issue with Noma playing Hermione. She's an excellent actress, and she'll be great. And why can't Hermione be black? Why does it matter? It doesn't matter at all. Do you know what I mean? Actually, but it does. Sadly, it does matter that we need to see that kind of change, and there is a debate about that. That's the problem. So actually, it is very important. But hopefully, we'll get to a point where it's not important. It's just not an issue. Done. Do you know what I mean? And what if Harry Potter was black in the play? It doesn't matter. Why does it matter? Do you know what I mean? The key characteristics of Harry Potter are not his pale skin. Do you know what I mean? It talks about his green eyes. Damn, Daniel Radcliffe doesn't have green eyes. Do you know what I mean? It's like, the more important thing is the characters and how they manifest themselves. Do you know what I mean? These superficial things, you know, obviously we form attachments to because it's a world that you get drawn into and form a personal relationship with. But in reality, I don't think that, you know, it's straightforward to me. There's no bar to that, and there shouldn't be.
Well, you have something to add?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with all of that, but I thought it was interesting. I think I read on Twitter maybe that J.K. Rowling was saying that there's actually no textual evidence that she is white. So, I mean, I don't know. I find it interesting, but yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to see it.
I think that's an interesting point, that there's no textual evidence that she's white. I think that's right, and I think that encourages people to consider their own assumptions and expectations about characters, and also shows that it's not actually a deviation from the original source material, right? But if it were to be a deviation from the original source material, like, you know, I think someone is described as being freckly, though you could have a black person who's freckly, but, you know, whatever. If someone is explicitly talking about their pale skin, you know, why can't that character in another version, in a reimagining of that work? You know, that's what happens when you make adaptations and you build on a world. There's a dialogue between the original thing and the new creation. Yeah. So, you know, to me, that is no bad thing either. You know, so if it wasn't canonical, you know, if it's explicit that Hermione is, you know, white and she's got blue eyes and brown hair or whatever, that, to me, that's still no bar. Right. So, anyway, those are sort of my thoughts on it.
After this moment will not only determine your career, but life. You can spend it in a corporate office drafting contracts and hitting on chubby paralegals before finally putting a gun in your mouth. Or you can join my firm and become someone you actually like.